All right, welcome back, everybody. Here's part two of the orientation. Hopefully, I can wrap it up in one video for part two. So, once you're done with the orientation exam, then Unit 1 will be made available to you. So, remember, 100% on your orientation exam. Unit 1 will be made available to you after that. Unit 1 is right here. And basically, it works always the same way. Use these little this little toggle here that'll get you through each unit. Make sure you don't skip anything, but there'll always be a set of objectives, kind of give you an overview of what you will be doing for the unit. Each unit will basically consist of 2 to 3 weeks of content. So week 2, week 3 you have content, and then there'll always be a unit wrap-up, which will consist of a quiz and an exam. Now, basically what the content for the weeks are doing is getting you prepared for the unit's wrap up, obviously. And so it's imperative that you work as you go. So when you get to week 4, it should be very easygoing, stress-free, because you have all of the information ready. You've taken all of the notes you need to take, and it's just a matter of going through the information, the assignments, the quiz, and the exam. So basically it works this way when you're ready for the content, and don't hesitate to work ahead. Please do work ahead if you're able to. Don't rush for the sake of rushing, but don't hesitate also to work ahead. So week 2, even if you're still in week 1, go for it. So it gives you, lets you know what's up ahead for the week, always right there. The content is always linked right here. So you'll click any of these links, it'll give you the video and the content. And right here, basically, it's telling you how much each response should be in paragraphs. So learning objective 1, which is right there, LO1, should be at least 1 paragraph. LO2 should be at least 3 paragraphs, and so on and so forth, right? So let's open on up the Age of Expansion. Click the link. And away you go. It opens on up. Now, very important. You want to make sure you understand what's being asked of you. So you're being asked to first, in Learning Objective 1, define the Age of Expansion and Conquest, and then explain how, why, and when it developed. Right? So you want to watch the video. Click there. And read through the content, right? There'll be some information in the video that's not in the content. There'll be some information in the content that's not in the video, so you want to use both mediums consistently each week. Once you have, and this again, as it was indicated here, it's 1 paragraph. Once you have a solid paragraph is generally 4 to 6 sentences, you're ready to move on to Learning Objective 2. Click there. So on and so forth. That one indicated it should be at least 3 paragraphs. Here is the learning objective right here, and you just want to go through the information to respond to it. Now, just to give you a heads up, sometimes, as in this case, there'll be 2 parts to a learning objective. So this is basically the first part is explaining how there was a 3-step process for the Age of Expansion and Conquest, and then you need to give an example of each of those processes. It's basically what's being asked in this learning objective. And the information is provided to you right here. You don't have to read every single one of those links, but you want to make sure you have an example for each of the processes for the Age of Expansion. Right, so you'll use a specific example. Don't go to any other links. And you want to only use the links that are provided for you. Don't go to Wikipedia. Don't go to some blog or whatever the case may be. It's a sure way of probably being accused of plagiarism. You can use my words, but quote my words. But generally, you want to make sure it's in your own writing, right? So definitely quote me, but make sure you put quotations around it. Don't put quotations around the whole thing. You want to explain it in your own words so you can demonstrate to me that you understand what it is that's being asked of you, and you can transform the information in a way that you can relate it to me. Okay, and once you're done with that lecture, then you're ready to move on to this lecture. Now, what happens is that by this due date, you have to complete the exam for the Age of Conquest lecture assignment. And by this due date, February 2nd, the development of slavery. And how you do that is you go to, when you're ready, you can either click here or you can use this toggle here, but you submit. click to launch. Make sure that when you do, you're opening it up in Lockdown Browser. It will not open up for you if you are not in Lockdown Browser. But you click here, click Begin. And discuss how the objective finding, give at least one example. So this was learning objective 2. So you're simply going to here respond to learning objective 2. And then you're going to click Save and Submit. I'm not going to do that here. But that's basically how that works. Yeah, leave this page. Right. When you're ready when you're done with the content for slavery, right? Learning objectives 1 for 4. Then you're ready to click here, click Launch. It's going to, again, you have to open up in Lockdown Browser, and it's going to randomly select one of the learning objectives, and this one selected learning objective 3. So you'll provide a response here, and click Save and Submit right there, right? Now, don't be tempted to skip learning objectives like, oh, it's only going to randomly select one learning objective per learning objective quiz, basically. That's basically what they are. If you do that, you're going to make a lot of work for yourself for the unit wrap-up, because basically the unit wrap-up is going to have you respond to a unit exam in addition to the quiz. And so the prompts for each lecture are right here. So you want to make sure that you have a response for each of these lectures, because one of these essay prompts will be randomly selected. So this one corresponds with the age of expansion. This one corresponds with the development of slavery. Down here, salutary neglect, and right here, the American Revolution. If you respond to each learning objective as they are assigned throughout the week, you will have all the information you need to respond to any of those essay prompts when you take the unit exam, which is down here. Each of these essays are anywhere from 6 to maybe 10 paragraphs, or so a page and a half to sometimes up to 3 pages. Generally, though, a solid page and a half is how much you're going to write for these. As long as you have a response from each learning objective, that is the introduction. Learning objective 1 is always the introduction to the essay prompt, and learning objective 4 is always the conclusion, or the last learning objective is always the conclusion to the essay prompt. As long as you have them all done by the time the unit exam has, you have all the information you need to pass those exams. So it should be pretty simple to do so. Now let me make sure you understand how to make points up. If you miss a deadline for any of the lecture assignment quizzes, you can't make it up. That is, it won't be made available to you again. Same with slavery, same with the American Revolution, same with salutary neglect, right? How you make it up is that whatever you earn here, if you missed any of these, it'll be applied to these scores here, just minus 10%, right? Now, conversely, if you don't do so well on the unit exam, Unit 2 exam is going to ask you to respond to 2 essay prompts. One from Unit 2, obviously, and one from Unit 1 randomly selected. So if you don't score very well on Unit 1, you want to go back to that information and make sure you further develop your essays. Or if you missed a lecture, you just didn't do it, you want to make sure you go back, because the Unit 2 will ask you to respond, again, randomly to a essay prompt from Unit 2 and randomly from one from Unit 1. If you, and whatever you earn on that Unit 2 will be applied to Unit 1 if it's lower, right? If it's higher, then it stays the same. If Unit 1 is higher, then it stays the same. So it's just a way, that way you don't have to, if something happens, and this life does happen, right? Your kid gets sick, you get sick, you had a bad week, you just forgot about the deadline. You don't have to email me and explain all of your reasons, your excuse, right? You just simply make sure you go back to the work and prepare for it. And so when Unit 2 comes you're ready for Unit 2. You're ready for whatever it appears on the Unit 2 exam. And again, it'll also plug into any missed lecture assignments. Unit 3 works the same way. It will obviously have you respond to lecture essays from Unit 3, as well as lecture essays from Unit randomly selected from Units 1 or 2. Unit 4 is the same one. You'll have an essay from Unit 4, and it'll randomly select one from Units 1 through 3. Just one of them. You don't know which one ahead of time, so you want to make sure you have a response for each lecture assignment for the unit. If you're make sure you note this, that if you don't get a 69% or higher on the first for the entire unit, right? So for all the lecture assignments, for the unit quiz, for the discussions, collectively for the unit exam, for the unit quiz, if that's not a 69% or higher for Unit 1, Unit 2 will not be made available to you. So then you'll want to make sure that you email me and just let me know what's going on, and I can make it available to you. Or you could just let me know, hey, this class isn't for me, I'm going to drop the course. That sometimes that happens. I don't recommend it, but sometimes that does happen. So just make sure that's the case. So that basically will conclude. Basically, each unit works the same way as what I just showed you here, right? There's lectures. You have to submit a quiz basically for each lecture, which is a response to the learning objective. There's usually always a discussion for each week, which gives you a prompt specifically to respond to, and then you respond to a student's response. And then at the end of each unit, there's a wrap-up. So there's always a quiz and there's always an exam. Again, the quiz is just basic true, false, multiple choice questions. Fill in the blank, a lot of fill in the blank questions. And keep in mind about the quizzes. If you don't do so well on them, well, collectively it's 10% of the grade. And the unit quizzes, as far as making them up, as far as points being made up, it works the same way as the unit exam. So whatever you earned on Unit 2 exam will be applied to Unit 1 exam if Unit 1 exam is lower. And whatever you get for Unit 3, it'll be applied to Unit 2 and Unit 1 if they are lower, so on and so forth, right? And again, there's only 4 units for the semester. Okay, I think that'll be it for the orientation. So that was about a 22-minute orientation with both videos. So thank you for playing along. Make sure that you have a response to each of the questions involved. Take the orientation exam sooner rather than later so you can get involved with the work ahead. Email me if you have any questions. You can ask me through Cell. You can ask me through email. You can ask students questions if you like as well. That's what it's there for. Good luck. Go forth and be great. I know you can do it. I believe in all of you. Take care. Bye-bye.